late.
Really?
Yeah. And surprise,
I just can't imagine that.
Yeah, I know, right? Go figure. Everyone playing on 3 o'clock. But you know what? One of the first people to show up that was late?
No.
I'm going to say it.
Okay.
It was Corky.
Holy crap.
But
no way.
In their defense, though, the first person to show up after Mariah and I showed up was Kita, with Mowgli.
Really?
Yes.
Mowgli was there, huh?
Yep, he was the first one there to show up, man.
Nice.
So, and he showed up, about 2:30, and then Corky showed up about it was about 7 after 8. She was only 7 8 minutes
8?
or 7 after 3. Excuse me.
Okay. I was gonna say because it's 16 after 8 now.
Yeah, I know, right? I just looked at the clock. So, but yeah, dude. So, no, it was good.
Nice.
What about you, Carl? What did you do today?
I went to play in the dirt and the mud and there was actually still snow up there on top of Ladie.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and it was snowing too when everybody had left there. So, a buddy of ours who's not exactly the greatest wheeler ended up going down the hill climb over there and got high centered in the center of the 2 hill climbs.
Ooh. Oops.
So me and a good buddy of mine, Avery, had to daisy chain our rigs to get him to get pulled up away from there.
Yeah.
And then he went back down the hill.
Wow.
But no, man, some friends of ours met up and we went and trampled all over Ladie.
Nice.
So it's very messy up there. I'm very disappointed with some of the people that I know that are going up there that I know are listening tonight. Bonfires and all that stuff, and they leave all their crap on the ground up there, and well, that's what gets installations like that shut down. So
yep,
that's why the cleanup's on the 5th.
Yeah.
Dum-dums.
Nice. Good. Well, it sounds
What'd
like...
you do, Josh?
Yeah, what did
Josh did... What did Josh do?
He slept in for once.
I did sleep in.
Right.
Dude,
that never happens.
I got next to no sleep throughout the week, Like I said, my daughter and I, we went up to Great Wolf Lodge and did that for a couple days, and yeah, ton of fun, swimming and the water slides and all that over there. We did that, and then we headed up to Seattle. We got to watch the Mariners opener game.
Ooh.
There on Thursday night. They won 2-1.
Hell yeah!
So that was a good night. And we took the ferry over there across the Sound over to Bainbridge Island, and then drove around over to Bremerton and went over and took the tour of the destroyer USS Turner Joy. So
really, I bet that was cool.
It was pretty neat. There was there's just so much history in those things.
We got a story about Destroyer coming up here.
We do
during the news portion.
We do.
So that's gonna be a cool one. That's a pretty big historical significance of that story here in a little bit. So we'll get to that here in a few. I do have one thing I want to talk about though before we get going. And this is something I've kind of had on my mind. I remember here not last week, but the weekend before when I first went down to Arkansas, and you guys were going off about the whole gun control debate.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So I saw a video today, and I tabled that thought, and everything else I set it at the back of my mind and whatnot, like, whatever, I'm not going to get into it, I'm just going to let it go. I try not to be political on the show, but I saw a video today that it struck a nerve.
Looks like he lit his fuse.
Oh, it did, dude.
You see his veins popping out. Oh,
dude, it did.
Right
He's got the fist flying and everything.
And it was
start doing the knife.
The knife hand hasn't come out yet,
but it's gonna. You start better suck.
Be like freaking what's that dude? Freaking John Burke when you started messing with a dude, a combat veteran, when he pulls him and Officer Daniels over.
Oh yeah.
Oh, buddy, back up! He's got the knife hand. Freaking sing, cutting him down with it. But anyhow, no, it was an interview that was done on that Bill Maher did, and we all know how freaking left freaking Bill Maher is from HBO, right? Mm-hmm. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That freaking David freaking Hogg, excuse my language.
Number 2.
Oh, you might as well just start counting them up because I'm about to go off on a rant.
Suck it up.
Thank you, Josh. And I'm going to apologize ahead of time because it's bad. Because my mom was giving me a ration of shit tonight before coming onto the show, and she was just like, look, I know it's your show. I know it's marked explicit, and I know you try very hard to keep it down. But tonight for this rant, all I'm asking is for an alibi on this one because it's got me heated. And I'm going to try my best to keep it down. But I got to let it go. I got to let it go because it's just been eating at me.
Hey, Josh, do you have something to sit over there with for a quick?
Oh, yeah, dude. Oh, yeah, dude.
Go.
Don't worry, I don't have anything to throw right now.
Okay,
so.
good. Go.
Okay. So these people have been going off about with the gun control thing, about trying to get these damn ARs and everything else banned off, getting them banned. It's they're trying to say that, the Second Amendment doesn't cover that. That's a crock of shit. That is a huge crock of shit, because I tell you one thing right now. I studied constitutional law in college. I'm not saying I'm a freaking lawyer. I'm not saying any of that. So don't take what I say to gospel, but I do know at least a little bit of what I'm talking about here when it comes to that. There was a Supreme Court case about 20 years ago. I don't remember what it is. I should have researched it before the show so I could have that right, so I can reference that right out the gate for the argument. But anyhow, it was interpreted by the Supreme Court for the Second Amendment. That little comma that's in it that says a well-regulated militia, necessary to, or being necessary to the free state. Mm-hmm. Then the comma, the right of the people to bear and maintain arms shall not be infringed. Here's the thing about it. That was interpreted for the right to not just be for the military, but it was interpreted also to be for the people, for us as American citizens. My biggest thing about it is, if I get, not everybody needs that weapon. Not everybody needs that type of style weapon. However, it should be up to the individual's choice to get that weapon. The reason why the forefathers wrote that was because they just got done going through a fight over tyranny, of taxation without representation, and things of that nature. When it gets to the point, they wrote it to protect, for us as a people to be able to protect us from them, from the government. That is why it is there. Some people may disagree with me. That is fine. I don't care. That is their right under the First Amendment to be able to have their own opinion.
DC versus Heller, by the way.
Thank you. I knew it was something like that. I'm seriously trying to maintain my composure on this as I go over this.
Hey, Tom said to let it all out.
Oh, I'm trying to, dude. I'm trying to without losing my complete composure on the show, because I try to be somewhat professional on this.
So from the court documents, the Supreme Court stated the amendment's prefatory clause announces a purpose, but does not limit or expand the scope of the second part, the operative clause. The operative clause's text and history demonstrate that it connotates an individual right to keep and bear arms.
Exactly. So therefore, reserving the right of the people to bear and maintain arms. People should have access to the same. My belief is that the people of this country should have access to the same type of weaponry that the government has. Should the event, you want to be able to keep things on the even playing field. Yes, I understand. Back in those times when the Constitution was written, it was muskets versus muskets. Well, guess what? As weaponry and technology advances, why should we not be able to adapt and advance as well?
Exactly.
And that is the whole purpose why it was written the way it is. Because it's a document, it's a document that's meant to be able to adapt as time and society progresses. Here's the other thing that gets me about it. When we have laws on the books right now that are common sense, it's a Title 18 U.S. Code that it's under. I don't remember the rest of those part and subpart where it actually gives the breakdown. But when it talks about shall, here's one thing I learned over these last 2 weeks. When you talk about, and this is something that they reiterate when you go through this hazmat class and shit, because they talk about legalities in the 49 CFR. there's two words that are used in the imperative: must and shall.
Yes.
Shall means that's it. It's in stone. This will happen. So if somebody says shall not, that is a no shit. It's written in stone. It will not be messed with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that pisses me off. You got these damn high schoolers that think that they know it all. I'm not taking anything away from them from wanting to speak their opinion. That's fine. But the people seem to forget that without the Second Amendment and the people that are willing to actually stand up and take a stand for shit, armed, ready to do violence on the part of those that refuse to, we would not have the First Amendment right to be able to speak and say the things that we do and have the opinions that we do.
That's very true, you know, and they sit there and keep talking about changing the Second Amendment or restricting rights and all those different things, but yet they're utilizing the First Amendment and they use that to their full advantage.
Absolutely.
And that can't be rewritten at all, even though that was written at the same time.
Absolutely. The first 10, the initial Bill of Rights, which were the first 10 amendments of the Constitution,
mm-hmm.
That's it. That's exactly, you know, they were all done at the same time, all ratified at the same time in 1791.
Yep.
By all the existing states at that point in time.
And Tom, you're exactly right. Uneducated little shits. So
that's exactly what it boils down to.
Yep. It's exactly.
So, and you know what's funny is that there's a video where it actually shows that freaking David Hogg guy in an interview, him and one of his buddies in an interview with freaking Bill Maher. And this is where I was going with this, where the other guy was going off saying, well, you know, I went through this, you know, this headache or whatever, so we are the experts when it comes to things like this. I sat there and watched friends of mine that got killed text their families and stuff, say, oh, I'm not going to see you again. Bullshit. You guys graduated 3 years ago from a high school that was clear on the other side of the country and got hired on by CNN to be a bunch of freaking actors and everything else. You know, it's like, no. You may be able to play the propaganda game, but for those of us that are paying attention to what's really going on, we're not that stupid.
Nope.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that pisses me off. Yeah. I'm sorry, but the Constitution to me is something that is very sacred. Is very sacred, especially as a veteran. And here's the other thing too. This other commercial that you've been seeing freaking floating around on the internet and on TV about the Veterans for Gun Control, I would like to find out who the freak dug those guys up. Because every single one of them is a complete freaking retard. One, they're all freaking pogues. For one. Well, I was a radio operator. Well, I was an MP. Well, good for you. How many times did you freaking handle an M4? Freaking what? Twice a year to go qualify? Really? Guess what? Well, I seen what these things can do. Freaking, I know what they... Oh, dude. And they're saying that they believe that those weapons do not belong in the hands of citizens. I'm like, oh, okay, bullshit. They're like, well, an M4 and an M16 are basically the same. Well, wait, no, the AR-15 is the same thing as those. No, it's not. No, it is not. Because if you're a legitimate veteran, you would actually know this. You would actually know the difference between an M4 and a civilian model AR-15. Guess what? The civilian model AR-15s are only legal to be sold in the semi-automatic version. That is it. Fire and semi. There is no third option on that selector switch.
So, you know, you and I both watch a YouTube channel called Demolition Ranch.
Yes.
And so I was watching yesterday after you took off here out of the studio. And, you know, because there's a big concern over, you know, YouTube taking, the gun channels away.
Right, Tom? Stuff, right? I hear you, buddy.
So, he's sitting there and he's reading off, all the different Matt over there. He's sitting there reading off all the, their new rules and all this different stuff.
Right.
And, there's all this, concern and hype about it all, but it's all going back to, illegal things like, showing people how to make silencers or making a weapon that can add a silencer to it or,
right.
those kind of things. You know, when you talk about having everybody, you know, us being able to